Welcome back to Half Cuts, the podcast where we get drunk and we argue over pop culture. I'm your host, Stefan, and this is my co-host, Nick.
Hey. Yo.
Such a delay. Jesus.
Yeah,
man.
I thought you talked more.
I don't. Oh, God. Anyway. I forget how we start this, but what are you drinking, Nick?
I've got a rum and Coke.
Woo!
Yeah. No, it's spicy. Spiced rum.
Really?
Yep.
I don't like rum. I just...
Really?
I don't like rum.
Like, everyone likes rum.
I don't like... I think it was
tequila.
It was like the first thing I drank, I think.
Oh, yeah. See, mine was tequila. So
you don't like tequila?
That's why I don't drink tequila anymore, yeah.
Tequila's not bad. It's weird.
I don't like tequila.
I can never tell if it's hot or spicy or anything like that.
I think there's like a lot of different flavors for tequila in general.
It's like that spider tequila. Your freeze. Good stuff.
What are you talking about?
It's like light blue.
Oh.
You know
it's made out of spiders?
Yeah, they just crush spiders. You know how it's always like you got the worm?
Yeah.
The spiders.
Wow, that's fucking weird.
It's pretty gnarly.
We need to get that wall up faster than I thought. Thought we had more time.
Yeah, so since you're not gonna ask, I'm drinking...
Oh yeah, what are you drinking, bud? What do you got over there?
I'm drinking a Merlot, and earlier I had, because I'm not an alcoholic, but I had shots of vodka. It's a pre-game.
I also pre-game with shots of vodka and then hedge into a nice Merlot for that nutty flavor.
That's
also
that
my functional life.
That nutty flavor.
I bet you all about that nutty flavor though.
Okay, so anyway, we're gonna be doing a versus episode today, our usual gambit. But I thought we'd start off with possibly some little bit of news type of stuff that you actually messaged me about earlier this week.
And so it's not confirmed yet, I don't think.
Is it?
No,
yeah.
WB. So Henry Cavill's not Superman no more. They're getting rid of Superman, maybe.
Yeah.
Just Supergirl now.
He went out and he's like, "Yeah, I'm done." I don't know if it was him, but they had a spokesman or somebody state it.
His agent was said something about don't believe all the news you hear. Henry is more than what you to put on, the big S or whatever.
And then the part you're not mentioning on that is they're we have to wait on Warner Brothers, what they're going to be telling us later today. And then Warner Brothers said later today, they're like, yeah, he's out.
Huh.
So it's kind of... I don't think he's bad.
He's easily the best Superman.
He looks great.
Christopher Reeve is probably the best Superman, but
so boring.
Yeah, I feel intrinsically he's a boring character.
He didn't crack enough necks, Christopher Reeve.
I mean,
he didn't fly through many buildings.
Technically, did.
Yeah. Oh wow! Okay, that just got me. That is so not okay.
I thought you were setting it up.
I wish I was. What is wrong with me?
Man, he really wants to take it to this place, huh? Okay.
I'm sorry, everybody. That's a big fan of Christopher Reeve. Rest in peace, buddy. Anyway, it's a dark path going down. So that's kind of crazy. Kind of crazy that he's
I don't know. It's
kind of weird.
His schedule seems busy as well, so I'm not sure if that was part of their decision or if they're just look, Superman's not working. Our most, our one of, if not most popular superhero, we're gonna cut him out.
I just feel like, all right, to go against basically everything I said in our episode about Batman vs Superman,
right?
I feel like Warner Brothers doesn't have any idea what they're doing. I like the movie, but that's me. I don't really care if anybody else doesn't like him or whatever.
Right. It's just, taste is taste, right?
Yeah.
Critics and media specialists and film students, they can all call it a bad movie. But if you disagree, that's you, dude.
Yeah, and actually, okay, I was reading. Do you know who Boss Logic is?
No.
He's a concept artist guy who works on Photoshop. He's really good. He does a lot of stuff. He posts on Twitter.
Right.
He might have been one of the influencing reasons. I don't know if that's the right phrase. Of why Henry Cavill got the role for Geralt, because he did a Photoshop version of Henry Cavill as Geralt.
When did he do that? Because I saw like he posted something on like I don't
Yeah,
know.
that was the piece. That was Boss Logic's work. If it was him as Geralt.
But I would imagine that stuff would have been.
I think he posted it like a year or two ago.
Oh, okay.
Like, I don't know how recent that was, but he's really good. He's really like kind of famous and stuff. But
kind of famous and stuff. That's cool. Good for him.
He posted this today on Twitter, and it's like literally all I was trying to get across during our entire 2-hour and 20-minute podcast on Batman vs Superman. So
right.
I know it's dumb, but I just want to read his tweet, and then that's what I was just trying to get across. Wow. So he's like, "It's sad to see most things DC releases or announces get shit on by one-sided fans and also by their own fans. I know the DCEU has had it rough, but they are getting better, and I have faith they will continue to do so, though I'm not so sure about the Superman decision. I'm sure it's especially hard on the actors that play these roles for you guys. Most of them avoid Twitter just to avoid the mob, restrict their comments on Instagram so they don't get bullied. Everyone has a voice now, and that's a special thing. You don't use it to hurt people." That's basically all I wanted to say, but I could never actually cross properly. I'm just like, I don't understand why people are so toxic about this stuff. That's it.
I mean, people are toxic about everything. That's just like
I know they're just shitty
internet
people.
Culture shit. Not like trying to excuse it or whatever and say that it's okay, but it just is. I think.
But in reality, it doesn't matter. It doesn't.
It's just a movie.
Yeah.
Like, so, I mean, unless you're a shareholder in fucking DC.
We've already made this joke, Nick.
Oh, have we? Okay.
Yeah, you made it last time.
Okay, well,
it's okay.
But still, like, I mean,
you actually made a good joke,
and then movie. It doesn't harm you as an individual. Like,
it does. It cuts me deep.
I get that people liked comic books or whatever, and to see characters done in a way that they didn't imagine, or like in a way that they don't feel is doing justice to the brand or whatever. Like,
I do find it weird how people get
like it, but
like they take it as like a weirdly personal level.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they just did something wrong with a character that you've been reading about for 40 years, and then like you want to kill somebody. Like, that's
like, I mean, or like post racist shit or like sexist shit on Instagrams and Twitters and shit like that. Like,
it's fucked up.
I'm not a theater person or anything, but like in The Last Jedi or anything was I like, wow, that person wasn't a very good actress or actor.
I thought they were all great.
Like, I never, like, as much as I dislike some plot points or whatever, I think that, in Batman vs Superman they could have done X better or explained character motivations for Y or whatever. I think that on the acting side of things, everyone did an awesome job.
Yeah, like that's usually a thing. Is a lot of these people do good with like some people I've noticed they hate a certain character or something, but it's like that's just the way the character was written, and these people that are playing it, they're playing it great. That's just the character itself.
Like you can disagree, you can not like Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor, but he probably acted it exactly how he is directed.
Yeah, it's not like they're like actor. we want a really tough, serious Lex, and then he just pulls that off, and they're like,
well, it's too late for reshoots. I guess we just put it in the movie.
We might as well keep that in. Like that's the way he was written, and he pulled it off. He's a good actor, so it's all just subjective or whatever. So, But I mean, where do you think this is gonna go? Because they
poorly. I mean, like I think the rumor was that they were gonna focus on like a Supergirl.
Yeah,
which doesn't make sense to me because I think a lot of her stuff was. I'm not a huge DC comic book guy, but I always thought her stuff was kind of like a foil or mirror to Superman type of stuff, like how different she was and stuff like that.
It was heavily like it's heavily like attributed to Superman. Like a lot of the stuff she did, he was usually present, or she's just trying to mimic him or something like that.
But isn't a lot of her characterization based on like, well, Superman would have done this, but I'm doing it this way?
Exactly. Like it's like her whole identity is based off of him,
Is Power
essentially.
Girl Supergirl?
Power Girl is a Supergirl from, depending on what version, she's from an alternate reality
Oh,
or she
okay.
was a clone.
So
So
it's some comic book shit. Okay.
I hate Power Girl. Power Girl's fine actually. I just hate that costume with the fucking
Oh, the boob
the
window.
boob window.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, okay, this is dumb, but she had a reason in the comics for it, and it was like the cringiest, dumbest thing.
Was it like my skin needs sunlight?
No, it was okay. She's like, you know how Superman has an S on his chest, and it means hope. I haven't found my reason yet.
Oh,
So
she ripped
that's
the thing off her chest. And
no. So she's like, I just haven't filled this up yet because I don't know what it needs to be, and it's like,
that's so
oh,
dumb.
that is so bad.
Like you remember in it was like Metal Gear Solid 5 where Hideo Kojima was like, Quiet's actually a very deep character, and people that are just accusing me of putting like a cheesecake model into this video game are off base, and you're all going to be regretting your words once you know the full story. And it was like, well,
quick cut to her
yeah.
like in the helicopter, just like showing Snake her ass.
Yeah, like
just,
getting her butthole real out there.
ugh.
And it's like, well, she breathes through her skin. So that was it all along. And it's just like, why make these weird fucking justification? Like, if you want to have like a big titty girl in your anime or your movie or your fucking video game, or what, like, sure, just do it. But at least just be like,
Just be honest about
it
it.
and be like, yeah, sex sells, or you know,
She's
I like
hot.
the character design, or you know, like it was a weird jerk off session of mine, and I'm making the game, so fuck you. You know, like
I
instead of
hate
like these
the
weird justifications where you're trying
yeah.
to like make your side out to be the correct one when it's obviously just like you like big titties or small titties or asses or
fine,
whatever.
Hideo.
Most people
That's
do.
fine.
So I get where you're coming from.
Her outfit, like just the whole very open skin thing, just kind of took me out of it a lot.
It was weird.
Yeah, because I get like a costume where I can cover my dog in a fucking like entire
tactical suit.
Yeah, like a dog, and then it's like she's like, "No, I'm good." Or
well, she breathes through there.
It's so stupid. If you got her in the cell and she's taking a shower, just like,
yeah.
All right.
And then she breathes through her skin, so it's like she's like fucking like doing some asphyxiation shit, like strangling herself in the shower, essentially. He just like doesn't make any fucking sense.
Couldn't she just wear cotton? Or
I don't
like
know,
just
dude.
something breathable?
Does cotton show off those rockin' titties or not?
So some people are prone to the imagination aspect of it, you know. So yeah. Anyway, we're getting like way off topic.
Really off topic. I mean, I don't know. DC's some fucking weird shit. I mean, I hope that they get a handle on their stuff because I like DC comics and characters.
Like Wonder Woman was good. Wonder Woman was pretty good, and like I like Supergirl. I think this would be a cool idea to have her like her own character.
I just
in a way.
don't get why. Like, if they wanted, there's like tons of in-canon comic ways to reboot a universe or whatever to make changes to genders or whatever. Like, why not do a Flashpoint thing and then
like they keep talking about how they might do that.
Reboot the universe in the way that they actually want to or whatever. Instead of like, it feels like the movies are not meeting expectations. So some new guy comes in, it's like, okay, well these aren't meeting expectations, so they sent me to head this, and I'm changing the formula, and we're doing it this way, and it just like it's not working. It never works because it's always like just radical change after radical change after rushed out thing. Like
somebody's scrounging to fix something that's like they assume will need to be fixed or something, and like they're trying to put the pieces all together.
They don't know why it's not
working
or something. They're like, well, fire the current head of that, and then hire. And then that guy comes in and says, well, Superman is the reason it's not working. We need to, we're paying Cavill too much, and he's doing other shit, and I don't know. It just reeks of bad decisions.
This guy on Twitter who like works in this stuff, he just made a good comment where he's like, it's because these people don't love their source material. Like Kevin Feige, he's like a huge Marvel fan, and he loves the shit. So he's like, we're gonna go all out. And it has been very successful for them. So, like, it's just Warner Brothers. I'm assuming they're just bottom dollar, kind of thing.
I'm assuming that they're playing from behind, and they see the money Marvel's making, and they want to get into that big every movie breaks records and shit and shatters shit, and they're
Yeah.
not putting in the time and effort to get there the good way that Marvel did it, and they're trying to just fucking
They're running before they can walk, kind of thing.
they'll
Right?
shit out a bunch of movies. The ones that are hits, they'll keep going with. The ones that aren't, they'll fucking toss aside.
It's weird, but
It is
I don't know. It could be cool to see what's going on. Plus, there's
I
those
mean,
rumors about John Hamm being Batman. Did you see any of that?
no, I'm googling John Hamm right now.
You know, he's mad. The guy
Oh
from
yeah,
Mad
he's the
Men.
Matt from fucking Mad Men. Yeah, what's a
Yeah,
good point?
they've all been talking about it recently with this stuff as well. Because Ben Affleck's like, I'm out after either the next movie or I'm already out, kind of a thing.
Yeah,
So they're thinking originally. I think it was supposed to be like Jake Gyllenhaal was
Mhm.
going to replace him, which I thought was cool. But then John Hamm.
John. I mean,
that'd
I
be
don't know.
good.
He could be a good Batman.
Boss Logic did some fucking work with him on it,
Jesus
so
Christ.
should show
Do
you
you have
some
like
of that
this
stuff.
theory where Boss Logic is like pulling the strings behind all Hollywood casting decisions or some shit?
That would be cool. He's got some cool ideas. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So
So that's your DC News Minute.
It's my DC in defense of, not really defensive.
No,
Garbage.
they really shit in the bed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Is there anything else? Anything cool or interesting you've heard of recently?
No,
Yeah,
I
bring
think
up.
it's been a pretty slow week.
Cool, man. Your life sucks. So I want to do I don't know what we'd call this, like a check back in or something about
Right.
stuff we talked about, even though you insisted that I don't talk
Don't
about
call
this.
it
But
a check back in.
I'm gonna do it anyway.
Don't call it check back in.
It's gonna be the half cut check in, because it's like a hotel or
What?
some. I can't save this.
Why would it be a hotel?
I don't know, because they use the words check in. My brain doesn't work. Jesus. Anyway, I watched some Death Parade, which is what you discussed last week.
It is what I discussed last week.
And it is actually great. I haven't got very far, and I know you keep bitching at me about that. But
it's just so good.
I know it's very good. I've just been very busy, and like I just want to stay up late and watch all of it, but I have to like get up early and stuff for work.
Do you start dancing when the opening comes on?
Oh my god! I'm like, my instinct is to skip the opening from like every anime. But then as soon as it just starts, I'm just like, and he's like shaking that fucking margarita thing, and I'm just like, yeah, man. I showed Claire the intro, and she's like, here we go, because I talk about all this shit a lot, and she doesn't really like anime too much.
Ooh.
But I showed her that intro, and she was like immediately hooked.
Have you considered levering?
She likes My Hero. All right, I got her into that. So it's a slow battle.
She's on the right path. Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So it's a great show. I really like the animation. I watched it with dubs. So I don't know what you watched.
I think I watched subs, but it's not 2003 anymore where dubs are like 3 dudes doing different voices for 20 different characters.
Yeah, the voice acting's really good.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know if it's just the dub version or whatever, but you call them Decim.
Yeah.
And in the dub, they call them Decim.
Oh,
so,
it's
not a big deal. It's just because it's the Quindecim, the bar. So I'm just saying you're wrong.
Making a big deal of it. Yeah.
I'm not. I'm just telling you that you're wrong.
Okay.
And you just need to acknowledge this.
I will acknowledge in the
acknowledgement is the next step.
Call him Decim.
Okay, that's good.
There you
We're
go.
on the same page. So yeah, it's a great show. I'm gonna finish it this weekend, hopefully. And I got a lot of questions. It's really interesting. There's like a whole world there that you're talking about.
They'll answer all of them.
That dude with like the pink hair or something. He has the weirdest eyes, and he creeps me the fuck out.
Like the old dude.
Yeah, because I saw him for the first time on the last episode I watched, and he was just like, "I'm practically God," and he's like playing pool, and his eyes are just like dark green or black or something with like a little line in them, and I'm just like, "What the fuck is this guy?" Yeah, he's kind of creeping me out.
She gets pretty crazy, pretty cray.
But it's good. I like the characters. So
I'm glad. I'm glad you're enjoying it.
It's a good show. Good suggestion.
Thank you.
So yeah, I guess we should just.
Let's just jump in, dude.
Let's just jump into this, Let's just jump right into it.
Yeah, no. So okay, what do you got? What do you got this week, dude?
All right, so this week our theme is video games.
It's not really a
And
theme.
okay, what do you want me to call it, Nick? Because you
I don't know.
bitched about it last week because you
This
didn't
week
like what I said.
How about you just call it like this week we're talking about video games?
You know what? You make it sound so fucking easy, Nick. Jesus.
Specifically,
Why didn't I say that? That's just so
I
much
don't know.
simpler. I even wrote that on one of our. It doesn't matter. Okay.
Just fix it in post.
It's a myth. Dumbass. All right. So this week we are talking about video games, and my subject for this week is a game that like I played so much as a kid, and it has affected me throughout all my life, and I love it so much. And yes, I'm hyping this up to an extreme, but it is Final Fantasy Tactics: War of the Lions. So this game is the shit. Have you ever played this?
I played a little. That's why I did, but it was a long fucking time ago, and I vaguely remember things about it.
Like, did you play the original for the PS1?
No, I put it on like the PSP.
Okay, yeah, that's the one I'm talking about right now because it's basically the same game but just better. Like they've added new things and characters and classes and stuff. So they're basically the same game, but they just added a little bit more. Nothing really anything involving story or anything like that, but it's just
I mean, because what the original's from what, like 1996 or some shit?
I think it came out, I believe, I might be getting this wrong, but I think it came out right after Final Fantasy VII. Like it was in between 8 and or 7 and 8.
Oh, really?
It might have been before, but from what I remember as a kid, it was after. But then again, I could be wrong entirely. So I played a lot of Final Fantasy VII as a kid, and I always thought the game was really cool and edgy and whatever the hell. And but this game like really set a tone for me in my life. So I'm gonna do a quick plot rundown.
Sure.
But I'm gonna kind of go through the first chapter, kind of quotation marks there for the game. Yeah, so this game came out in the late 90s. It's a tactical RPG. I don't know the proper. Do you know the proper terminology?
A tactical RPG or strategy RPG?
Yeah, strategy kind of game. So it's
like
a lot of like grid-based combat. It's a very slowish kind of game. The combat's not as fast-paced as most things, but it's very satisfying combat, I find. And it has basically you fight another group of people. You have like a party of like 5 or 8 or whatever amount of people, and you just slowly, strategically go through and eliminate the enemy. And you have like a team of people that you kind of customize yourself. So it's like a cool factor on it. You can basically start with like a bunch of knights and stuff.
So is it like they're named characters in like your party always consists of like this is Joe, and here's his brother, half brother that's a little bit evil, Jacob or whatever, or is it like here's your main character, here's knight, like chess or something, where it's like they're all pawns and just like unnamed combat units?
In this game, it starts off with the main character who is a named person in the game. It's your main person. You can't change. I'll get into that, but you have that as kind of your main character. There are several characters in the game that you do collect that are like they have like a set class. Some of them you can change, some of them you can't, and they are like important plot people. And the rest of the time, though, your entire party, the rest of your party is basically just like a couple of people that started the game with you. So they're just kind of like your soldiers. They can be anybody. Throughout the game, you can hire other people or recruit people or capture people, kind of a thing. And they all come with their own names. Doesn't really matter.
Are they like character? Like, will they say shit in?
They don't usually. Some of them can.
Just like...
Depending on the situation, some of them can say stuff, but they're not really characters in the game. They're just like your units that you use to
your army or whatever you want to call it, like mercenary band.
Yeah. So I like that kind of a thing. We talked about this a little with the Divinity thing in the other podcast episode, but like I like to have my own created party where like I make the story for them, kind of a thing. So I really like this kind of
like
a
D&D type of.
Yeah. Like I like to make the situation myself. But then again, if you want to, there are plenty of characters in the game where you can just they're all main people and you can replace your entire party with them. So, it's a really intense combat strategy based game. Cool. So I just want to get into a bit of the plot here. and go a little bit over it. I want to go through kind of some of the main setting, which kind of harkens back to something we talked about in a couple of podcasts ago. So,
Hopefully Final Fantasy 12. You
yeah.
talking about Final Fantasy 12?
Yeah, because I brought this up during Final Fantasy 12, and I just thought this was interesting. So, the game itself is set in Ivalice, which is the country, I believe, that you mentioned before.
I think it's the world. Like, I think that's the planet's name or the continent's name.
Okay, well, in this, that's not what it is.
Oh,
it's the country
sure.
of Ivalice. But it's basically supposed to be set in the same kind of world, but not the same. Maybe it's like a parallel reality.
A lot of
or
them, like, I
something
think.
else.
So, my understand, like, I could be, again, 100% fucking wrong here. But, like, Final Fantasy games, like, the races are always going to be the same in Ivalice. Like, there's those Banga dudes and usually, like, some elfy looking people or whatever the fuck. Whereas in more mainline Final Fantasies that don't name a world or, like, use a different world, they're kind of doing their own thing.
That's the thing, though. This world doesn't. Okay, so in Final Fantasy Tactics, it's basically there are humans and monsters involved, but they're not to the extent of Final Fantasy 12, where you have the
like other races and shit, like the
like you have those elf
and
exactly those in Final Fantasy Tactics Advanced for the Game Boy. Those races are all present.
Dude, I love Final Fantasy Tactics Advance.
It's pretty good. I feel like this game is a better story, but whatever. So in this one, it's not exactly the same. I feel like it's kind of like a splintering off version of that world. Like it's just a different reality's take on what occurred here. So
that seems valid.
Yeah. So Ivalice in this world is the country that you currently inhabit. It's a unified kingdom of 7 territories, which are, it's really dumb, but I just want to go over them. There's Lysalia, which is the main kingdom where the king rules. There are Galleon, Fovalham, Seltenia, Limberry, and Lionel, and Molond, which is like the last kingdom, but it is run by the Church of Glabados. And spoiler warning, these guys are assholes.
Just royal dickbags.
I hate this church thing. This is actually kind of a thing as a kid where I was like, oh, the church is kind of good, right? And then I played this game and I'm like, I should question some things.
Like it seems like in every JRPG, like the main villain, like 80% of the time is always like the church or God or both.
Yeah, like I noticed that a lot after I played this game. Like it was a recurring theme, especially in Grandia 2. The church is like heavily like they are the main bad guys in that game, where it's like they have a nice outer exterior, but on the inside it's like we're trying to destroy the world. So
in like the SMT and Persona games, usually the main character or the main villain is some form of god, either like Yahweh or.
And sometimes it's not done that great. Like it's just like religion sucks, but you never know. Sometimes you get a good one. That's actually like an interesting iteration of something that might mimic our reality to an extent. So yeah, so those are the 7 kingdoms, and so this is kind of it's a fantasy world. There's not a lot of super high-tech stuff. Like, there's no sci-fi elements basically at all. It's just heavily fantasized. But it really, to me, like, reminds me a lot of Game of Thrones. Like, it's a very dramatic and political story. Which
like a lot of double crosses and betrayals. And
yes. Like, there's a ton of that stuff, and there's, like, a lot of, like... Because you started, like, as a kid, when I played it, you started off, it's like there's this... You're a fantasy guy, and you're the noble son of a amazing house of knights, and all this stuff, and it kind of starts that way, and you're like, oh, cool, I'm jacked for this, and then it just immediately like takes a turn to like really mature stuff, which I might as well just get into this because it's part of what I want to talk about, so I might as well stop tiptoeing around it. So
sure.
This game takes place just after an incident called the 50 Years' War, which was a war that occurred just before the game started between Ivalice and its neighboring nation to the east, Ordalia. Quick thing, does this sound normal? Like, I'm not fucking up the words or anything?
I mean, they're like
I'm not
fantasy names.
Like, you can hear what I'm saying, right? It's not like
I can hear what you're saying.
Screwing up the wording with my mouth.
I don't understand like half of it because it's fucking Barganoth from the Rallia Kingdom,
Milan and Galleon. But
but I can understand what you're saying.
All right, that's what I was asking.
Phonetically.
So, okay. Okay, so yeah, it's a war between two nations essentially. Ivalice, the main nation, was defended by these two groups of knights, the Order of the Northern and the Southern Sky.
Hmm.
So the Order of the Northern Sky, they were led by the main character's family. The main character's name is Ramzabiolv. He is just this blonde young kid. I believe he's like 17 years old, and he kicks off the plot. His family is the Biolv family, and the Order of the Northern Sky was run by his father. So they are kind of a big deal. They're high nobility in this kingdom, and they're kind of the main reason that the war was won. So during this battle, many soldiers and knights, they were denied their pay and honor after the war ended, and they kind of were gypped over, screwed over. So they basically became a terrorist mercenary group called the Corpse Brigade, and they tried to start a revolution within Ivalice. So this is what basically kicks off the entire plot of the game, where you, the character, comes in.
Hmm.
So let's see if I got this right here. Sorry. It's like a lot of information that I'm trying to throw out there. And okay, so basically this plot, it's called the War of the Lions, which is the name of the game. So
Oh, that's a coincidence.
I know, it's crazy, right? Shit. The king of the land, King Atkasha III, he dies and leaves his only heir, Prince Arenas, who is only 2 years old. So he can't really rule because he's only a 2-year-old child.
Hmm.
So basically, a lot of this isn't that important, but basically a political power struggle occurs between multiple factions within the country, and everybody just wants to take this
So it's
throne.
like the war for the crown from Game of Thrones.
Exactly, it's basically Game of Thrones. So like everyone's just trying to take this. So the plot
Get their guy on that seat.
Yeah, so they can basically rule. And perhaps the church has something intense to deal with this, so who knows. The plot kicks off with you, Ramzabiolv, trying to escort the princess of the king to safety when she gets kidnapped by...
Princess of the King?
Sorry, that was stupid. The princess of Ivalice. She's the daughter of King Atkasha.
So is she one of the ones that like people want to put on the throne?
It's basically, if you can... She's the only... besides the son, that is the heir, she's the only other nobility.
Oh, okay,
left.
so there's like just two sides.
Yeah, like,
okay.
I think it's kind of like if you marry her, then you could have heavy political power and could possibly become the king yourself.
Okay.
Kind of a thing like that. I'm not...
Sure.
A lot of this political shit doesn't make sense to me.
It's very really unfortunate considering the plot of the game.
I know. Sometimes I maybe don't know what I'm talking about, but I do my best to get through it. So.
Oh, sorry. I'll let you get to it.
You jackass. So this princess gets kidnapped from Ramza by this mysterious man with brown hair, like slicked back brown hair in golden armor. He looks really badass. And Ramza seems to know him. So after this occurs in the plot, we do kind of a flashback incident, which is basically chapter 1 for the game. Where you learn that this guy in the golden armor is Ramza's best friend, Delita Hyral. So
is that one name?
Yeah, Delita. Delita. A lot of these names I'm going to be saying the way I think they're pronounced. They're very strange names.
Use your headcanon.
Headcanon? Yeah. My brother used to call him Dielta. And it fucked with my head a lot because I'm like, it's spelled Delita. That's not right, man. So, So Delita is a guy who is just a commoner. Him and his sister were just commoners. They were basically nobody, and they got adopted for some reason that I don't know. They got adopted into the Beale family, and basically became the adopted brother and sister of the main character. So the story kicks off. We got Ramza, Delita, they're knights. They're leading their own group of people to fight against the Corpse Brigade terrorist group, and I'm starting to realize a lot of this is not that interesting as I'm talking about it. But,
that's unfortunate. That's an unfortunate revelation.
I'm pretty really deep in this, so I gotta just keep going.
Just dig that hole deeper, dude.
Okay, all right. I'll just cut some stuff out and get through this. To me, Delita is the most interesting character in this entire
is
game.
It like what's that movie, dude? The Prince of Egypt, where like one's a noble dude and one's a commoner, and they like somehow become friends.
Like Moses and
The Prince
what?
of Egypt. Yeah. Did you not see that movie?
No, like as a kid,
Oh.
the cartoon
Yeah, dude.
where like Moses leads his people to the fucking
Yeah,
the
dude. Where
Red
Moses
Sea.
leads the Jews. Yeah, but like there was
No.
Moses who was like a commoner, right? And
Okay,
technically he was like adopted or whatever by the royal family. But you know what I'm saying.
it's not really like that at all. The only connection is that one's nobility and one's common.
Okay.
That's basically it. They don't go down that path at all. So
Ramza never unites the
Ram
Jewish people.
he doesn't. In your situation, Ramza would be the bad one from the.
Oh, I
It
guess.
doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
I wasn't saying exactly the same. I just meant like, was it
Jesus
like
Christ.
one of those low-born, high-born type fucking friendships that
Okay.
are common in media?
Jesus. Just let me get through this, man.
Okay.
I'm having a
Sure.
rough time. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Basically,
You want to take 5 minutes to?
No, I don't. I got this.
Okay.
I'm ready. So Ramses' family, shut up. Ramses' family, most notably his older brother Zelbog. He
Zelbach?
yeah, weird name, but the guy
Oh man.
looks fucking awesome. He's one of the coolest looking characters. All right, I know he
What's he
sounds
look
dumb.
like?
Just got this sweet black armor and just a bitchin' little goatee. All right, so he's pretty badass.
It's pretty sick.
He leads the Order of the Northern Knights, or Northern Sky Knights.
I thought
After
the dad led the knights. Oh,
he did, but now the older brother does. He's a very
His dad
serious.
died.
Sure.
Is that not like? Am I wrong?
I don't believe. No. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. You are totally right. The father
Okay.
did die, so the brother Zelbag takes.
Oh, seriously? I was just like honestly don't.
You're
remember.
actually right. You're right. I forgot that. There are other characters. This isn't interesting, but I'm just. There are other family members. They all have positions in this group of knights.
Sure.
So,
Okay.
anyway, I find Delita, he's the most interesting character out of this whole plot because early on in this game, you're just hanging out with him. You're all just buddies. You guys are gonna do amazing things in the war to come. You guys are gonna just be heroes. You got all these like aspirations for greatness
Right.
and all that. You know, the cliche, all that type of thing.
Yeah.
But Delita's sister, she gets kidnapped by this terrorist group. So then you guys go out to save her.
So
And-
just give me like a quick rundown. What are these terrorists? What are they fighting for here?
They are called the Corpse Brigade, and they
Badass
are.
name.
I know it's pretty fucking rocking. They are former soldiers for, I believe, I'm not sure if it's specifically for the Northern Sky Knights, or both of the groups, but they're basically just soldiers that fought in the 50 Years' War, and they were
Okay.
basically just kind of screwed out of any kind of heroic honor or any kind of like money they were promised or any kind of thing that they could have gotten after the
Right.
war. So they were just
Except for
screwed
Pete.
over by
I got lots of that.
what? I totally missed what you said, and I bet it was funny.
They probably got lots of PSD though. PTSD.
Yeah, they probably did. They probably did. They could have fucked them up. Yeah, so they're the terrorist group, the Corpse Brigade. So they're just trying to
So ex-soldiers that feel spurned by the kingdom.
yeah, and they want to start a revolution within Ivalice to just get the current political hierarchy, the aristocratic, whatever the fuck you want to call it, the nobility. They want them gone, so they just want to take over. So they have this big plan that goes wrong. They screw up and they end up kidnapping Delita's sister Tietra.
Because they think she's a royal.
Yeah, I believe they're trying to kidnap actually Ramses' sister.
Oh, okay.
But they eventually get Tietra instead. And there's this huge kerfuffle, big fight goes on. They all end up at one warehouse place where one of these terrorist guys, there's like a couple stragglers. He has Tietra held hostage, and he's going to kill her. He's got a knife to her throat. Ramses shows up with Delita. They're begging the guy not to do it. They're saying, like, we can figure this out. And Ramses' older brother, Zalbeg, shows up, and he's like, just kill him. Just shoot the guy. And, like, his soldiers they shoot their crossbows, and they just kill Delita's sister.
Oh, my God.
And the guy. So it's just kind of like, to Zalbeg, she seemed to be, like, an acceptable loss. Like, it didn't really matter to him because...
douchebag.
Yeah, like, he's a huge dickhead. He looks hella cool, but he's such a dickhead.
Most
And
dickheads do look hella cool.
yeah, so that's kind of fucked up. And she's like bleeding
Except for
out.
rednecks.
Okay, just do you want to do your own podcast? Just
No,
ramble.
okay, no, just
20
right. Just didn't want people to think that I thought rednecks look cool. That's
You
all.
don't.
I know. That's why I had to clarify.
All right, you're right. True that.
Thank you.
So yeah, one of the terrorists who was shot by arrows, he's actually still alive, and he crawls into the storehouse and he lights up the gunpowder that was within there, or whatever explosives they have in that place. I think it's gunpowder. I'm just trying to remember this properly, but
right.
Everything starts to blow up. Delita is just holding his dead sister in his arms.
Yikes.
And the whole place just explodes.
It's kind of
and yeah,
rough.
So you think, well, Ramza, the main character, just assumes that Delita, his best friend, is gone.
Died in the explosion.
Yeah, so then years go by, and then the beginning of the game kicks off with earlier, which is Ramza with a group of knights trying to protect the princess.
Okay.
And then Delita, he shows up, and he's the one who kidnaps the princess from you.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and you're just like, what? Like, you're alive? And then Delita notices you, but he doesn't even seem to give a shit. So he's just kind of like, tough shit, and he just screws off. Like,
Maybe
he's
shouldn't
out
have
of
been in
there.
the warehouse dick bag.
Yeah. So, that's all I really want to get to in the plot. It's it's a very long game. It's like, like your 80-hour RPG kind of a thing.
It's a Final Fantasy game for sure.
It gets to some very intense levels of political. Oh, I had the word and I just lost it. Game of Thrones-ness. It's political intrigue and betrayal and everything like that. But I did want to say something about Delita's story. So this is going to be a spoiler warning to anybody if they a little too slow on the pause button or whatever. I'm just giving you a little bit of time.
Holding off for the last 25 years on this game.
Yeah, it's been out for a long time, so it's a little late. So basically, sorry if I ruined this for you, Nick, but Delita himself, he is a character who started out as a commoner, had this tragic moment happen, and then he fights his way through. He creates this plan to basically destroy the entire nobility. So he's basically trying to do what the Corpse Brigade does, or attempting to do, but he succeeds.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, like he himself goes through all this stuff. He joins different factions, different groups. He sides with everybody he needs to get what he wants done. And in the end of this, he goes from just being a common street urchin kind of character to being the king of Ivalice.
Damn, dude.
Yeah, like he gets his shit done, and he marries the princess. Yeah, he marries the princess Ovelia, and my favorite part in this game is right near the end, and it is like the final nail in the coffin for all of this. Like the final thing.
Oh, you're really going all the way here, huh?
Yeah, I'm ruining this for everybody. Spoilers. So he's finally married to Ovelia. He's just named King of Ivalice. A lot of other stuff occurs that I'm going to leave open for everybody. It's just a small tidbit of it.
The middle part, but the beginning and the end, I'm going to totally ruin.
No, there's a lot that happens really important that I'm just going to graze over right now so that you guys can all enjoy it yourselves. Excuse me. And yeah, so he's married to Ovelia. He's just become the king. They're outside. They're sharing a tender moment together in their new, like, regal garbs and everything. And she's saying, like, man, I'm gonna love you forever. You saved my life all these times. You were there when I needed you, and you did everything you could to save this kingdom, and blah 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 blah. And he's like, that's great. I love you. And he just pulls out a knife and he just stabs her in the stomach, and she just bleeds to death on the ground.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and then she's laying, like, she's just been knifed in the gut, and then she like pulls out her own. I think she takes the knife from him, and she stabs him, and then she just collapses on the ground and bleeds out and dies. And then he just sits there, just accepting that he is going to die now, but he's just happy with himself because he just succeeded in
his plan.
Yeah, he's gone all the way up. Is the country going to
go right back into turmoil, though?
Possibly. But that's not the thing. His whole goal was to destroy this nobility, destroy these people that caused all of these issues for him, and he just has succeeded. It's it's some pretty heavy Game of Thrones level shit I found. So yeah, sorry for that rambling, me attempting to get through the plot properly.
No, I understood all of it.
It's a really good game. It's got some Great characters, actually. There are some pretty interesting people. There's a woman in the game named Agrius Oaks. She is one of the best female characters I've seen in an RPG. She's a female holy knight who has this really sweet sword move. She has a lot of crazy sword stuff. But her outfit and everything about her is not like, it's not sexualized. It's not like she's just eye candy for the audience. She is there to be like an intimidating force and a very prominent figure in your party. And every time I played the game, she was always there. Like she was part of my team, like the first one I had
Just a
in.
baller.
Yeah, she's a badass character, and I love that about her. The art style in the game is amazing, and something I thought you'd think is interesting. With War of the Lions, you can get Cloud Strife from Final Fantasy
cool.
VII. Yeah, I don't really know how they do this. It might be like a alternate reality, something happens, they get thrown into this world type of thing, or they are just
it
Clouds.
seems like it's just like an Easter egg character.
Yeah, and then they can join your group. So you get Cloud Strife in your party, and also 2 characters from Final Fantasy 12.
Oh, that's cool.
Which
good
is
one?
Yeah, it's your favorite character, I think. Not Bosch, but what's his name? The Han Solo guy. Balthier. Yeah, you get him in your party with the bunny girl.
Oh, that's fucking dope.
Yeah, you can get them as well. They're like totally new characters for the War of the Lions PSP game.
That's actually really cool.
I actually use them a lot. They're very good. So it's an amazing, very mature fantasy game series that's very heavily political, intense story, lots of mature themes, and it kind of does away with a lot of the tropes of classic fantasy games and stuff at the time. Like it kind of shows them off initially, and then it just kind of crushes them down and is like, we're not screwing with that. This is like a real. Yeah, there are fantasy creatures, there's monsters, there's fucking ghosts and goblins.
There's hydras,
and all that shit.
There's chimeras.
But it goes to a very serious really
place.
Intense place. Like there, I remember there is probably, I think there's a mission. Like you get into random fights a lot, and you fight like goblins and monsters and stuff. And there's one fight you do, I remember this, where one of the monsters right before you fight, they're just like, dude, like we just want to live. Like we're not trying to kill you. We're just trying to get away from all this stuff that is happening. And you're just like, you're in my way. You just kill all of these things. And it's like, are you the good guys? Like, are you doing what's right? And so, yeah, that's basically all I really wanted to say.
Sounds like a cool game for cool people.
It's really fun. And it's one of the Final Fantasy games that I think kicked off that whole class system that shows up in a lot of the other games.
Oh, is it on Steam?
I don't think they've...
Or is it just like a PSP, PS1 release?
Like, I think you can probably buy it on the PS Store kind of a thing. Like, you might be able to play it on your PS4.
Oh, that'd be kind of cool.
Maybe. But it's... yeah. It's not on Steam from what I know of. But it might be soon, because they've been adding all of them, right? Like,
yeah, they've been adding a shitload.
Hell, it might be on there. I don't really know. But yeah, it's got some cool classes.
You've done your research.
Best class in the game is the Dragoon class, which is like these knights that are like dragon slayers, and their specialty is like spears, and they can jump really high. So, yeah.
I mean, if they can jump really high, that seals the deal for me.
It's basically what is that? What's the online one? Final Fantasy.
There's dragoons. They're lancers, and they can. Final Fantasy 14.
14? That's
yeah. They're dragoons there, I think.
Yeah, a lot of that is. I don't know if it's taken from this world, but so many elements of that game is like
usually their job systems, I think, are in most of their job games.
But I believe it's set in Ivalice, isn't it?
Ivalice is part of the new expansion.
Oh, okay.
It's on like I don't think you can look at too much of the lore between the games as being
it's usually really loose.
Yeah, and a lot of times they just do it for like fan service and shit.
One thing I did notice because I was looking some of this stuff up last night to just confirm what I was talking about, but
right.
Ramzabiel, he shows up in Final Fantasy 14 as I think he might have a different last name, but he's got a whole different story, so it's not exactly the same guy. But it is the same
character.
Yeah, and one of the guys the guy who shot the crossbow that killed Delita's sister.
Right.
His name was Argath, and he was this
Mm-hmm.
humongous total douchebag, and I fucking hated him. And you
Oh,
kill
Jesus
him,
Christ.
but he's actually in that. He's one of the bosses in the game.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, so there's like a couple things
Some
like
cool
that
throwbacks.
they brought into that world, which is interesting. So yeah, that's I think that's all I really
Nice. Oh, it seems
I
like
gotta
a
I gotta
fucking
say.
seems like a dope game.
Do you remember at all like how far or how much you played?
I remember like I beat it. I remember like demons and shit.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And
I wanted to leave that a little open, but it gets to a whole
I don't know. I found
going
that to be
through
like the shittier part.
the different layers of hell type of thing was
Yeah.
kind of annoying. Like it was interesting in the story side, but it was a lot of like you do this fight and then you're on to the next fight immediately, and it was
Hmm.
like, I don't like this. I do a fight and then I can go anywhere I want on the map kind of thing. I get to build up my crew. I can buy items,
Yeah.
stuff,
Instead of just like
and
nonstop like fight into next fight into next. Like I
yeah,
remember, I think that's one of the big complaints is that there's like some fight where you're just alone as Ramza and it's hard and like there's no save point really. So you
oh
really
my god.
grind
Yeah, there
does.
is a fight. It's one of the bosses in the game. It's
Yeah.
kind of halfway through and it's Ramza fighting I think it's just the one guy, but it could be more. And
I think it's like a duel between them or some shit.
yeah, and it's like it's a really cool idea, but
Hmm.
if you're not strong enough at that point in the game,
It
you
just
are
fucking sucks. Like yeah,
yeah,
you're just gonna get your shit wrecked and there's no
cuz
way
you
to go
got
back
to
and train.
exactly. Yeah. And you can't grind or anything for more levels. And it's like you have to do the initial fight with just Ramza and the other guy, and then he gets hurt and then he turns into like this demon monster thing. And then that's when your group shows up. But
Hmm.
like Ramza at that time could be like you're just like a second away from dying yourself. And then
Right.
right when the next fight starts, he can just kill you, and then you're like, oh, I gotta deal
You're
with
just
this
hard fucked.
now. Yeah, and it's just like if you're not ready for it, that's okay. That's my one complaint is sometimes with the game, it's like you got to be ready. You got to be
It's a
training
hard
kind of
game.
a
Like
thing.
it's a tough
Yeah, because there's certain situations where you're like, oh, I'll just do this mission, and then it turns into like a 3 fight thing. That's just
like a 2 hour slog, and if you fuck up, you start at
yeah.
the very beginning.
And you can save in between fights, but if you save and you don't realize what's happening, then you're kind
You
of like
could,
stuck.
yeah, because if you can't
So
beat that fight, all you've got is this one save to rely on.
exactly. So I do recommend multiple saves, kind of a thing. But
Also, don't be a shitbird. Don't be a bad
yeah,
player. Just
don't
maybe just don't lose. Huh?
yeah, don't
How
go
about
from
that?
fight to fight. Like do all the other fights, do all the side missions, do all the like the little
Yeah. Or just
mercenary
be a
quests.
tactical genius. Be
Yeah,
like
exactly.
fucking read the art of war before
It's
going into
not
this. And
difficult, okay, to be a god on the battlefield. Jesus.
channel
Fuck.
Ares.
Mm-hmm.
No, it seems like a dope fucking game. Final Fantasy Tactics. It's got like a lot of acclaim too. Like a lot of people, I think it's their.
Yeah, it's
Like it's
basically
so good.
there's a really good game that we might talk about at some point called XCOM 2. And I know it's not based off of that, but if you've ever been a fan of any of these tactical games, it feels a lot like that. So it's to me it's a precursor to that because I played a lot of Final Fantasy Tactics.
I
I
mean, I
played a
think the
lot of the
first
other ones.
XCOM came out before.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I'm not saying it's the reason XCOM exists, but to me as a fan of Final Fantasy Tactics, I discovered XCOM 2 and I'm like I love this like
It's my
immediately
jam.
because yeah, it's the kind of game that I love. It's this kind of system but with a more extremely updated version that just kicks ass. So, it's a great story. It's my favorite I think story in any of the Final Fantasy games.
It's a
So,
high bar.
it is. Final Fantasy 9 is up there for me, and I don't know if a lot of people like that too much.
I think. I think
But
like tons of people probably have their own personal pet.
yeah, it's kind of like whatever the first one you played is, or whatever one you really got into. So
Yeah, like 10 was a lot of it for a lot of people.
10 was good. I
I
like
like
10.
I liked all of them to be honest. Like 13 didn't really hit for me, but it seems like a fine game. I guess got a lot of hate, but
I don't think I yeah 13. I never played that. I played it for like 5 minutes, and that was it.
I never played that. Followed by I played it for 5 minutes. Okay, so we already know you're an untrustworthy
No,
source.
I'm just saying. I'm like I don't.
You never like got your teeth in there.
Yeah, exactly. Like I played it for a little bit, and then I just
Kind of
never
fell
went
off.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's like a lot of people's
that's the one with lightning,
experience
right?
with it. Yeah,
I heard that one has like one of the most confusing stories.
I find they all like. Can you tell? Okay, tell me the plot to Final Fantasy VII. There's the rough general
7?
outline. Yeah, 7.
Don't do this. We'll be here
Yeah.
for so long.
No, just give me a rough basic outline.
The world is being destroyed by a corporation, and you are a rogue terrorist group
Right.
trying to destroy that organization.
Right.
Where
What is Sephiroth?
you find out that Sephiroth, who is a super soldier created from the genes of a fallen asteroid person.
Yeah,
I tried so hard.
I don't. And so Final Fantasy VII, I think they admitted that they mistranslated a shitload of it, and it doesn't really make sense. Yeah, like tons of plot points and shit are just wrong.
Oh,
and shit like that. So
I just remember playing that as a kid, and I'm just like, this is so cool.
Sephiroth is so cool. Cloud is so cool. This is awesome. Look how big their swords are. Fuck
the
yeah.
music is sick.
The music is sick.
God, I hated Barrett. Was annoying. He always yelled at me.
I mean, maybe you shouldn't have been such a shitter.
Maybe he shouldn't have lost his fucking hand like an idiot.
Well,
okay?
You don't take this.
You know what? I don't.
Workplace accidents, workplace hazard, dude.
Bullshit. Well, she should have let his friend die. She should have dropped him into that ravine.
Dying? I think isn't that what happened? Dying.
No, okay. A buddy of his was falling into a pit, and then
his name was Dying.
Was it?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh.
What do you think his name was?
I don't know. I thought you were fucking. I thought you were.
You thought I kept saying dying?
I thought you said I was. Okay, this is in a pit of madness.
Let's just. Final Fantasy VII is a good game. Any last thoughts on Final Fantasy Tactics before we skadoodle?
It has like a lot of these Final Fantasy games. It has such good music.
Is it Nobuo?
I think I'm probably wrong, but I think it's Nobuo Uematsu who did the soundtrack for this game. But it's just like right when you start the game and it does the PlayStation 1 or PSP whatever symbol. It's like the title's about to start and it's just like dun 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 dun. It's like it's just intense orchestral soundtrack just kicks in, and I get nostalgic chills, thinking about it. And it's just like, this is gonna be a good time.
Some good shit.
Yeah. So and it's a random thing. It's heavily, a lot of the game is based off the Zodiac calendar. It's not a big deal. It's just, I forgot to mention that earlier. So.
That's like a big theme in a lot of Final Fantasies for whatever reason. And I think a lot of them, especially on like Ivalice.
Yeah, I don't know why.
I don't know what the reason for that theme is, but
apparently instead of January, February, March kind of thing, they go from the basis of a zodiac. Like each month is named after a zodiac, so it's kind of like that thing. There's like the main bosses in the game are all based off each zodiac sign.
Oh, okay.
And then all the demon zodiac people do this thing and blah blah blah, and the end of the game happens. So I'm not gonna ruin that for anybody.
That's cool. You already did, so
I ruined one piece.
The very end of the game.
A humongous plot that a lot of that honestly.
You ruined the end part.
Okay, the Delta storyline is kind of like a side story, to be honest.
Oh yeah, just the end of the game though.
So it is, but there's other
side story.
There's other major plots in the game.
Sure. Okay.
Piece of shit. Yeah, I think that's all I got really.
Oh, that's cool. That's a cool game.
It's good stuff. All right. On to you, Nick. What do you got?
So I've got Nier Automata.
Ooh.
And Nier Automata I think came out last January or something, 2 years ago-ish at this point. And it is an action RPG for the PS4 and now Xbox One and also the PC. And it is done by Platinum Games, who have done like Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance, The Wonderful 101, like really renowned for
Revengeance.
Revengeance is a fantastic game, and if you don't like it, you can frankly suck a huge fatty.
Is that game connected to any of the Metal Gear, or is it kind of like this weird alternate reality spin-off?
I mean, it's like a side story, I guess. I don't know if it's
really fit in?
canon. It does. It's just as nutty as the other Metal Gears. Like, it's not. There's nothing in there that like disregards Metal Gear lore or something, or that goes against it.
Yeah. Okay.
Either way, so it's stylish action game is what they're known for. Third-person action games.
It's got some cool cutting mechanics.
Revengeance does, yeah.
Yeah,
But
cut that
Platinum in
trash can.
general is known for like really good action games, like snappy, flary, stylish, all that shit. And Nier is done by them and published by Square Enix and Platinum Games. Like it's good. It's flashy. Like the button presses feel good. The combat feels sick. It doesn't do enough different, I think, compared to like Revengeance's cutting mechanic or
Mm-hmm.
other stuff. Like the gameplay is solid, but it's definitely like not the reason you'd play this game. A lot of weapons and shit, a lot of different like combat tactics and shit like that. So it is a post-apocalyptic setting, like with
Okay.
a destroyed Earth, and so you play the role of 2B, who is an android.
2B.
2B, like the number 2, and then the letter B, and she's called 2B.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's like an
Okay.
androidy name.
Okay.
And so Earth has been wiped out. The last living humans are on the moon, and they've created the androids to combat the robots, which wiped out Earth. Probably should have said that at the beginning, but
Okay. So
so
hold on. Hold on. Hold on.
yeah,
Hold
lay it
on.
on me. Lay it on me.
Hold on.
Yeah.
So we have a robot.
And I'm gonna. So sometimes they're called machines or robots. Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
So
That
her
wiped out
name's
Earth.
2B.
Yes.
Okay. So she's the main character.
She is the main character. She is an android, which is different than a robot slash machine.
I'm pretty sure they're all robot people. Okay.
Sure. I mean, aren't we all at the end of the day? Am I right, guys? But yeah, so you are. They've got like this floating space base where they
Okay.
like go down to Earth on these fucking. They're kind of like a mix of like an F-14 and like a personal assault suit. That.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm just remembering. Because I played about
Yeah, like you start the game in
30
one.
minutes of it. Yeah, and it
Mhm.
starts like the whole plane thing or the jet
Yeah,
thing.
like a
And
jet thing. It's kind of like a bullet hell game at the start, and then you land, and then it gets in the character action part of it, and then you fight a boss, and you beat the boss, and the game opens up and shit like that.
Hmm.
Yeah,
So what's the whole story? Like, what's going on in the game?
there's
Or I get
so fucking
what
much going on in the game.
what do you want to talk about first? Sorry, I don't mean to fuck up your flow.
Oh, no, I mean, now you got me all fucked up. You got me all fucked up. You got
You're all
me
turned around. You don't know
all
this.
frazzled, all frizzle frazzled. It's just not working out for me right now. But so I mean,
Okay. Sorry.
base outline for the game is that you are an android destroying machines on Earth, a post-apocalyptic destroyed Earth, and it's a character action game. The music is fucking fantastic. The graphics are good. The gameplay is solid, but the plot is the real fucking nutso thing here. So it gets meta, and it gets so fucking meta that like your HUD, your HUD, that displays like your health and experience and all that shit is
Yeah.
part of your Android like operating system. So you can funnel power, say, from your life bar to strengthen your attack damage or increase your health or any number of augments that you have. That means that you're playing the game basically without being able to see your own health. Or
so you can like switch off features from your HUD.
exactly. I think like subtitles are one, audio, HUD, like life bars, shit like that to empower. Basically, like, so it's got your CPU or whatever, right? And you're plugging in chips, and chips require power. And so you can control how you use that power. Do you use it on health bars? Do you use it on this chip that increases your attack damage? Do you use it on something that increases your defense? That kind of thing. It's like a really fucking
That's interesting,
neat
actually.
system.
Yeah.
And it's super meta because you're an android, so it all kind of fits together.
So, quick question.
Sure.
When if you turn off the subtitles and everything, is that like, is it like their language or something? Like, is there an explanation for that at all? Or is it subtitles? Like in game, is it like, oh, she turned off her translation device type of thing, or like?
No. And so like the game is in like Japanese or English. You can like, and honestly, I use subtitles as an example. I can't even remember one.
Oh, okay.
Since I played it. At the very beginning of the game, like you beat the first boss, you end up self-destructing, and you go back to the base, and like your memory black box gets uploaded again, and you basically inhabit a new body, and the character kind of walks you through the diagnostics. So like your screen starts black or whatever, and you have to go into the options and turn on like visuals and set the audio so that you can hear him and shit like that.
Okay.
So it gets pretty meta that way. As far as the plot goes, it goes in some weirdo fucking directions. The director of the game is Yoko Taro, who's that dude. If you ever see him at E3, he's got like that giant moon head that he never takes off, and he's just like the wackiest fucking dude.
Creeps me out so much.
Terrifying.
It's just like the smiling moon face thing from hell.
Mm-hmm.
God.
And so the
Sounds
two
like
main characters, you got 2B, and then you've got 9S, who joins you shortly after. He's kind of like your recon type dude. 2B is more of an enforcer type android. They go into like a decent amount of like world building lore and shit, like the different kind of androids, their purposes and shit like that. Like you've got an operator that is on the base that kind of gives you orders and communicates with you and shit like that. But for the most part, like it's an open world game. You're on this destroyed Earth. You're fucking up robots. There's side missions, shit like that. You're going through the plot. You're fucking up machines, and eventually, you like come across this giant machine orgy where they're like fucking, and they don't have like genitals or anything like that. So it's kind of like bumping and grinding in what they is like, they know to be sex from like research and shit that like, the humans would have taught them or whatever.
Do they have dicks or anything?
No.
Or like, do they look like?
No.
Because you guys look like humans, right? Like from what I've
the androids look like humans. The robots, for the most part, they're like, imagine like an oil barrel with like a half circle on top, and like just like basically like an 80s style fucking robot.
Kind of like Bender,
not humanoid at all, like basically like Bender. And they're like they all talk in like this monotonous voice, like beep boop, I am a robot, destroy like a Dalek type shit or something. And they're just like bumping and grinding. They're fucking like, some dudes are smashing it from behind. There's like a little fucking baby carriage that they're just like rocking and shit like that.
Okay.
And then like birth happens somehow. And
what?
Yeah, I don't fucking know. But it spawns Adam and Eve, which are basically they start naked, and then throughout the game, as the antagonists, every time you see them, they get smarter. Like they begin talking complete sentences and dressing and stuff like that. And
that's cool.
Yeah, it is cool. So they're basically robot kind, I guess, personified. And they learn and they adapt just like how like an AI machine would learn.
So the robots created life in a way, is what you're saying?
Somehow. Like, yeah. They're still robots. Yeah. I think they're like pretty blatant about this. So like robots created more robots, but they're more advanced.
It's like a better grade AI kind of
exactly.
Yeah. Okay. I like that idea that they're slowly learning and getting better throughout time. Like they're
improving. Yeah. Like that kind of. So to my understanding, like humans are humans, right? Like they're us. Androids, machines are like AIs and shit, like basically learning machines. Okay. Like that's their thing, like a Skynet type thing. Ooh. Like they're designed to, that's presumably how they destroyed the world and shit in the first place. And androids are kind of like a cross between both, where they've got human characteristics where they're not just like driven by machine logic, but they have like the power and shit of a machine. And it gets like there's a ton of different robots. Like you end up finding a village of robots that wants to surrender to you. All they want is peace.
Oh, right on.
And so it goes into like really heavy themes of what it means to be alive, sentience, all that shit that like any media involving robots and humans and androids and shit coexisting does.
Kind of the Blade Runner kind of story type of thing.
It definitely goes a lot further beyond that as well.
Okay.
Getting back to Adam and Eve as the antagonists, so you beat them up. You kill them, game ends, credits roll. You kind of think like, oh, it's like a mediocre action game. Like, Platinum, like it was okay. The
That was
combat was
fun.
fun. It was Platinum. They got a little bit deep with the Blade Runner themes, but it is entirely forgettable. Boom.
Mm-hmm.
Ending A is done. There are 26 endings to the game. 5 of them are major plot endings, and the rest are usually like just side endings. Some of them are goofy. Some of them are like harder challenges, shit like that.
Are some of them like that Silent Hill ending where it's like the
Yeah,
dog
with
is
the
running
fucking dog
everything?
is running everything. Like usually they're as wacky, but they're not quite as like grandiose like that. Like one of the side quests is don't eat this fish, and then if you eat the fish, you die because you get sick, and then the game ends, and it's like ending Z unlocked. If you're told to run away and you don't, or you're told to stay and you run away, the game ends and ending X unlocked. Shit like that.
Okay.
So ending A, you play as 2B, you do the main plot beat story, you're beating up Eve and Adam, you got your buddy 9S there, and shit's going great.
9S.
And then 9S.
It's your beta.
He's like a little robot, android boy. And he's chill as fuck. He's like your hacker, spy, recon dude. Ending B, you play the same plot, but from 9S's perspective. There's major plot beats where they're split up and doing different things, so it kind of sheds some more light on what other characters are doing during like major plot moments and shit like that. And then from there on, ending C, D, and E, shit hits the fan. Totally different game. Like, just absolutely fucking unreal, the shit that happens in this video game. It's one of my favorite games because...
Okay.
Sure.
Never mind. No, I was just gonna say, like, if you want, you can spoil a little bit of it.
No, it's honestly, it's something that experiencing for yourself is something, and I'll get into that in a little bit because the things that Yoko Taro does with Nier Automata are things that only can be done in a video game. I feel like you can make Final Fantasy Tactics to Game of Thrones analogs or something like that, or you can make a Final Fantasy Tactics movie that hits the rough plot beats or whatever. You get the rough gist of it, right?
You couldn't make a movie. You can make a show, like
or
Game
a show.
100%. I get that. Yeah.
The stuff that Nier Automata does can only be done in a video game. There's stuff with player interaction with the systems in the game that you can't do in a movie or a TV show or a video game or a comic or an adaptation.
Video game.
Sorry, did I say video game again?
You threw video game into your things of
you can't do Nier Automata as a video game, dude. It transcends fucking media formats.
It is Nier Automata. That's all it is.
That's all that is, and that's all that ever will be. But like, you could do a Last of Us movie. You could do an Uncharted series of movies. Shit like that. Nier Automata can only be a video game. They can't do an anime that hits the major plot beats and people buy that are fans of it and shit like that.
It sure looks like an anime.
I mean, it's Japanese.
I know it's Japanese, but
I'm not sure what you're trying to tell me.
Okay. The thing about the game...
Sexualization about...
There's a thing about the game that always stopped me from getting into it.
Just 2B's butt cheeks?
2B's... What is it? Gothic outfit? It's like
Gothic Lolita type shit?
Like, she looks like she's 13 or 12 or something, and she's wearing, like... It's a really nice dress, but it just kind of like it does that thing where you're like, I kind of want to. Maybe people are gonna look up that skirt. Like, people seem to want to do that, and I'm like, okay.
Despite all appearance, like I can't remember, like in Metal Gear Solid 5, sorry, like there's times with Quiet where like she's dancing in front of the camera or whatever, and like the camera just naturally like gravitates towards her butt or some shit.
Snake's he's listening to the guy talking like Otacon, and he's just.
Oh, I mean, or his Walkman, he's playing fucking like Girls Just Want to Have Fun or whatever. As
and he's
like
just watching her.
Quiet's giving him this weird lap dance type thing.
She's like eye fucking the shit out of him and just spreading her legs, and you're like, that's I wonder what that is.
That doesn't really happen in Nier, at least not that I remember. Like, she's definitely sexualized. I think Yoko's been fairly on the nose about it. It's like, I wanted to have like the best ass in gaming, so I told the animator I'd lock them in a room for 3 days until they produce this. And like, just he's not doing some weird like, well, she breathes through her skin, so you need the boob openings or some shit. He's just like, I wanted some hot,
he's just straight up
ass here, which I can respect. Like, I mean, it is what it is. It's not the choices I would have made or whatever, but it doesn't detract, I don't think, from the overall experience for the most part. It's not, despite her looking like that, it's not like the camera naturally just goes under her skirt or something, or
I
she
heard
does
there
weird
is
dances.
there's like an achievement or something
There is
that
an
like if you
achievement if you
try
look
to
under her skirt, yes.
in
If
the
I
game
remember right.
like gets mad at you and she like smacks the
Yeah,
camera away or something.
she smacks the camera away, and I think she like covers her skirt a little bit, like pushes it down a bit so you can't do that.
Like that's kind of clever. That's kind of like a satirical kind of at that.
The entire game is kind of like not in that vein about like weird sexual stuff, but it's kind of clever about the mechanics and about player interaction and shit like that, which is what I love. I've never found another game that does things quite like it. It is a sequel to Nier, the first game that came out on PS3 and 360. Now, and that game also had multiple endings and shit like that. It was a little bit more tedious, if I remember right, and the combat wasn't as good and it wasn't as polished and all that shit. So not a
That's
lot
the
of
one
people
with
played
the
it.
old man, right?
Yeah, it's like an old man and his daughter in a post-apocalyptic world. They're referenced in Nier Automata, but they're not like actual characters or whatever. I think just because the times are different. Like I think it's like several thousand years.
Yeah, isn't Nier like the first one? It's like way later or something. Or
I
which
think
one?
Nier
Which one
takes.
would
I think
take?
Nier Automata is the sequel.
Oh, so it would take place after.
I believe so. I could be very wrong, and I know.
So I didn't play enough of either of these to like really know which one.
So you can't call me out on shit, which is
yeah,
good.
I know. I'm just gonna assume that you're telling me the truth and the whole truth.
Nothing but the truth, dude. Nothing for you. So in Nier, the first Nier game on PS3 and 360, there's multiple endings, and once you got the final ending, the game deleted your save, and that was kind of like. Again, this was like 80 hours of gameplay, multiple endings. It wasn't like Nier Automata where like the game is kind of paced to assume that you're doing this multiple ending shit. It's like, nah, this was like a 40-hour game that you're playing through multiple times, and each time the ending or ending sequence is slightly different. No other major changes other than that. And then as the final fuck you, the game deletes your save. Which is like hilarious to me, but it's also stopped me from ever wanting to play the game.
That's such a dick move.
It is. It's a super fucking dick move.
Oh my god.
So at the end of Nier Automata, and this is the only ending spoiler I'll give, is that the credits start rolling. It's doing like this epic fucking music, and then like a little thing appears in the bottom, and it shoots, and you're shooting the credits, like the names that appear, all of it. You blow them up just like a game of fucking Galaga or any bullet hell shooter or any of that shit. And eventually they start shooting back.
Okay.
And
it reminds me of, was it Smash Brothers or something?
Yeah, kind of like that. Where it's kind of like a mini game. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so it starts getting incredibly fucking hard. And then eventually you're dying, you're losing lives and shit like that. At this point, when I was playing it, I was on my like 10-hour binge. I had just beaten the game. I was on this huge fucking high. I was ready to rock. Like the ending credit vocals are going on. It's super fucking epic, and I'm jamming the fuck out.
Yeah, you're
and I'm
reading
getting, like,
out
a little
your
bit
Japanese music.
It's not Japanese actually. It's like an English. Vocal.
Fuck track. Me. All right. Yeah,
it looks like you got proven wrong.
I know. I'm an idiot.
Eat that shoe, then.
I'll just get that gun ready. So.
Yeah. Barrel's in your mouth, huh? So anyway, you're going through these credits, and you know it's a Yoko Taro game. You know there's some fucking like hidden shit here, right? So eventually, my lives run out. The music's getting fucking nuts. There's tons of shit on the screen. I cannot fucking keep up. And it said like something pops up and says, like what's your battle tag, dude? Or like your gamer tag or some shit. Toasted Coaster. Tag? Yeah, Toasted Coaster.
Oh yeah, let's just throw that out there.
Yeah, all right. Toasted Coaster. It's
Toasted Coaster, everybody. Toasted
Toasted So it pops up. It's like Toasted Coaster wants to lend you aid, and then you hit accept or you hit decline. And so I hit accept, and it fucking like another thing appears, like just like me, that helps me out. It starts killing shit really fucking fast, and music's getting like shit is getting absolutely fucking insane. The bullet, like the screen is full of projectiles and particles. Like, I can't tell fucking anything until it finally ends. Director Yoko Taro appears. I fucking destroy that name, and then a fucking choice appears, dude, and it says, Toasted Coaster gave up his save data so that he could help you through this. Would you like to do the same for another person? And
What?
yeah, dude. And I got so fucking emotional because at this point I had put through like 40 hours to this game in this weekend, and like
Oh,
fucking
so you're
music is going on.
playing, but like my thing would come up, is what you're saying. Like it's some other player's
It means that
name.
someone else deleted their save data to help me through it
Oh
because I fucking
shit!
couldn't do it. And I
That's
don't have. It's wild, dude.
that's weirdly emotional.
It is, dude. Like I had an emotional tie to this game. Like there's plot points and characters die and shit like that. Shit gets heavy, and I was emotionally tied to this game. And to ask me to delete the save data so that I could help someone else just like spoke to me on like a basic human gamer level.
Compassion.
Yeah. And I do not have any Nier Automata save data on my PS4.
Oh, you're a good person.
I'm a good person. I
you're
hope
not.
I hope I fucking help someone else out there in the same spot as me experience the same things that I did. And it just fucking still I get like goosebumps and tinglies just talking about it. Because it fucking the experience I had, like nothing else in video games has ever come close.
Holy shit, man! You hyped that up. You hyped that up
Yeah,
pretty
it's
big.
fantastic.
I want to clarify with everybody that though that was a very nice and humble thing that you did, you were still a piece of shit.
Still a grade A dick bag.
You're a terrible human being. So
okay.
I just need the world to know that.
And
but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, and I mean the themes in the game are very much philosophical. A lot of it is about like robots trying to become human, what it means to be human. At the end of the day, and again, mild plot theme spoilers or whatever, the machine's whole goal this whole time was to become as close to human as possible and surpass their creators. Which, again, I mean, has been a theme in the Odyssey. It's been a theme in ancient myths forever. It's been, trying to surpass your father or creator or whatever has been
it's like the man becoming God
forever. As soon as exactly.
Yeah.
And stories have been around, it's been a theme. So it goes into these crazy philosophical themes on, how to do that. Is it destructive to do that? Self-destructiveness, shit like that. And some of it is like this weird, I want to say that it's pretty smart about it. Some of it is this weird pseudoscience, pseudo-philosophy shit that's like, I just saw Philosophy 101, what does it mean to be alive type shit. And a lot of it, though, is, I mean...
The architect giving you that 20-minute spiel.
But a lot of it legitimately goes into some deep themes that you don't see addressed very often in video games. And...
Shit.
Yeah, I mean... On its nose, it should have just been some generic fucking game like Vanquish or fucking any number of PS3 AA,
Metal
action
Gear
RPGs.
Solid Revengeance.
Sure, 100%. Like Metal Gear, like I love Revengeance, but on its face,
it's just trash.
I mean, it was just, again, like I played it. It was 8 hours. I fucking liked it, but I went on again. The Nier Automata, I consistently think about. I consistently come back to because the themes and shit it raises just still speak to me on like both an emotional level as someone who's played video games for most of their life and shit like that. It's done something that nothing else has even come close to.
Shit.
To be
I just realized both of our things are like they really affected us as people.
Yeah. Yeah.
They really like shaped who we are, kind of thing. Oh,
I mean, it's some fucking shit, dude. And I'm not gonna say like I look down on you for not playing this game, but like part of me does. Part of me is just like, are you even a real gamer, bro?
Am I even human?
Like, just like some huge gatekeeping shit where
you dick.
There's
like,
people who have played Nier, and then there's garbage to me.
Okay, I played Nier, so.
Or sorry, I should have said people have beaten.
Nah.
No take backsies.
I'm in.
Schoolyard rules.
I'm in.
Not garbage.
I got it. I
just
figured
the
it
sounds
out.
of a gun unloading. Not today, old friend. Not today.
I will keep you close, though. Okay. Okay, that sounds cool. So
I mean, that's technically like the end of the game or whatever, but there's so much more to it than that. So don't feel like it's something you can't experience just by being told about something or just by watching a let's play or a YouTube or whatever. There's emotional ties I think that a video game makes when you sink hours and hours into beating it, right? And
so basically, you're an android who's trying to defend humanity, quotation marks,
or
or
what's left of
whatever's left
humanity.
of the
Yeah.
world. Yeah, and you discover what is truly meant to be alive.
Yeah, dude. That is the
That,
plot of Blade Runner. Yep.
yeah, that's good. That's
It's
good.
good.
That's good.
But no, it's a good game. You should play it. I mean, if you care about like meta gaming and shit like that and
I do.
stuff like that, it deserves a playthrough.
I love meta.
I love meta too, dude.
I am meta.
I mean, okay, well,
Deadpool meta.
Deadpool meta, breaking the fourth wall.
Pickle Rick.
Pickle love a dub dub.
No, okay, can we just back that up?
No, it's on the internet now. It's out there forever. But it's just so fucking good. Like I cannot describe how good that game is.
Is there something you can tell me? And it's something I've been very
Sure.
curious about since I played a little bit of the game and seen all the stuff on the game.
Yeah.
Why are they blindfolded?
So I think the cloth is actually your HUD. Like that's what they see through to display like life bars and save points and fast travel points and shit like that. It's like and I mean I get that it's probably more of a stylistic choice than like a realistic one, but I'm gonna tell you right, it's also some thematic shit about how androids have been blind to the real plights of humanity. Some bullshit that was probably a bit too deep for me, but
damn it, I was gonna
that's
shit
also
on it,
part
but
of
you
it.
already did. Okay, all right, that's interesting.
Yeah.
All right, it sounds like a cool game. Sounds like a nifty.
Bro, it's a fucking masterpiece.
It's a masterpiece.
That's
I'd
the
say
theme of this week's episode is masterpieces.
Masterpieces.
Mm-hmm.
Video game edition.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I mean, it doesn't have Knack 2, but that'll be next week.
Knack 2, baby. That was my dunking impression. It wasn't very good.
That was fantastic.
Thank you. Spaghetti and meatballs.
Hey.
That's about it. I don't really have more for that. So okay. So I did Final Fantasy Tactics, War of the Lions. You did Nier Automata, and then we get to our end battle of our podcast. Why is yours better than mine?
From what I remember, Final Fantasy Tactics kind of falls off. Yeah, and this is just my personal opinion, where the first act, where it's got all the political intrigue and Game of Thrones shit and all that stuff, is like I love that stuff, and then it gets into again like ending spoilers here, I guess. It gets into like stuff with demons and shit like that. Where what is the motivation for the demons? Is it generic? I'm bad and we want to take over the world? Because that's what I got from it.
Damn it. The problem is I can't entirely remember their motivation, so that probably says a lot. It doesn't help my cause.
Yeah, like whereas, like some of the other characters in the game, their motivation's pretty bluntly, we want to put someone on the throne, or we want to dismantle the nobility. Like I love that class warfare shit.
Or I want vengeance for my family that was murdered.
That speaks to me on a human level. I'm a demon secretly this whole time, or used power to become a demon, or whatever the fuck, and also I want to take over the world because no reason. Doesn't. And that's...
Well, I feel like they're trying to do the same thing in a way, but to an extreme. Like they're trying to... Like there's all these people trying to fight for the throne, whereas the demons are like, yeah, we're just going to take over everything. Like we're going to rule all of this. And we might destroy it.
I mean... I don't know. Like, I find it hard to empathize with the plights of a demon trying to take over the world, where I can empathize with and understand the motivations of, like, Deletus or whatever, getting vengeance for his dead sister and ruined homeland and all that shit.
Okay, that makes sense. I don't want to agree with you, but I guess that's true. That's true.
And I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Like, that's what I remember from it. And yeah, I mean, go play the game and prove me wrong, I guess. Whereas Nier, it starts off kind of generic and turns into something fantastic.
Okay.
Final Fantasy Tactics starts as something fantastic and turns into something generic. And
Fuck off.
no, like that's
It
again
does
going
not.
back to no 100% just going back to like onto the plot, onto the demon shit. It seems
It's
like it
pretty
turned
great.
like it's. I'm
Okay.
not saying it's a bad game. I'm not saying like, well, actually, Final Fantasy Tactics is shit. I'm saying from the plot wise, from character wise, from all that shit, Final Fantasy Tactics starts off like this cool political intrigue, class warfare shit, and evolves into we got to stop the demons from taking over the world. Yeah, there's like some political side plots and shit there with Deletus, I guess. Like you mentioned, at the end of the day, it's mostly just a side plot. Whereas Nier starts off as a super fucking generic action game. Oh,
Damn
we gotta
it.
defeat the machines because they're bad, and then it turns into something fucking way more than that.
I feel like you're like a conniving serial killer.
Well,
Like you have the brains of a mastermind. Because if I say that the Delta plot is not a side plot,
I
then
mean,
that goes against what I was saying earlier, and I'm like, I'm stuck. I'm in a corner. Like
you,
he's got me
you
bent
played
over that
yourself.
barrel. It's just you're just like, that gun is pretty nice and shiny, isn't it? Like, don't you want to that? It's like, thanks, man.
I mean, like, and that's just my opinion. Like, I haven't played Final Fantasy Tactics in a long fucking time, and I could be getting some plot beats wrong or something. But like, I think it's a good game. I just Nier spoke to me.
I would say on
On a
my
way
end
that,
then,
sure.
on mine, that Final Fantasy Tactics is a better point than Nier is the fact that it has, to me, a stronger cast of characters. They're more relatable individuals. They're not all trying to, like, yours has a great aspect of that they're trying to seek humanity or what it means to be alive or what it means to be real. But these, to me, Final Fantasy Tactics has characters that are like I'm just a regular person in a way, and I'm just trying to survive, or I'm trying to get my vengeance or something like that. They're just people trying to live in this shitty
Right,
world.
a little bit more like down to earth, grounded.
Yeah, some of them are not. They're obviously like, I have magic powers and I can summon
I'm a demon and
monsters.
I want to conquer the world.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. But I feel like it has a larger cast that I don't know how to say it. It's like
more varied.
yeah, there's a more varied cast, there's a large cast, and there's a very small amount that are garbage. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like, I hate 50% of these people and they're terrible characters. It's like maybe one or two, maybe three are like, we don't need them in the plot, but like the rest, they work in the situation.
And I'd agree with that. Like, it seems like Final Fantasy Tactics like starts strong and finishes okay, whereas Nier Automata, I mean, for most
I'm
of
gonna
it,
cut
it
you
is
off, and I'm just gonna assume that I win because
sure. I was gonna
that's
say,
all
well,
I need.
Nier Automata
That's
at
all
the
I
end of the
need.
day is a generic action game, and it gets beyond that thematically and gameplay wise, but a lot of the time you're just beating up big robots, and a lot of is 20 hours of generic gameplay worth the themes and ending and all of that bigger stuff? To me, it is, but to some people, it might not be. At the same time, I think I could watch a Let's Play of Final Fantasy Tactics and get, the rough experience. Whereas with Nier, I don't think you do. I think that it's something that you have to personally play and see if it speaks to you, and if it doesn't, I mean, it
The
doesn't.
thing
But
on that I say would be that I don't think you could watch a Let's Play of Final Fantasy Tactics for the story aspect alone, but for the combat, I feel like that's something you'd have to experience for yourself because the way somebody does their own strategy compared to what you would do is kind of the point of the game, right? Like
I mean,
when I try to outsmart my opponent and it's like a 20-minute fight or a 30-minute battle, and at the very end you win, and that whole dun 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 kind of thing plays off.
right.
You're just like, fuck yeah, like I fucking did that. Like I went out of my way and I kicked ass. That's a very satisfying experience where I can see yours is very satisfying in like the action, fun, super fast paced, kick ass aspect of it, which is great in its own. Not saying that's bad in any way. I'm just saying mine is better.
So you're saying they both have good gameplay, but you think yours is better?
Exactly. That's exactly
okay?
what I'm saying. I'm saying mine should be on a pedestal, and
Mine
yours
should be in the garbage trash.
It should be just in the trash
taken to the
with a
dump,
homeless guy
incinerator,
jerking
use
off
toilet
onto
paper.
it. Exactly.
Okay. No,
You know where we're
at.
at.
That
You know
sounds
where
fair to me.
Okay, cool. Is there any other points or anything you want to throw out there for that?
Nothing. Oh, so there's a thing with fucking so there's a ton of weapons in Nier Automata, right?
Yeah.
And they all upgrade and shit. And Nier is like loosely. So Yoko Taro also did the Drakengard games for I think like PS1. I
Oh
can't remember if they started on
shit!
PS2
Really?
or PS1. Yeah, he did. So there's 3 of those, and they're incredibly depressed. Like they're so fucking sad, and
Ah, those games are so good
they are
though.
so
Like
good.
it's got that pat system, the pact system that
Hmm.
I love in any. Okay, I'm gonna gush on this because you brought it up, but the very fact that what is it? You have to make a deal with the dragon to be able to use their abilities, kind of thing in Drakengard. Is that right?
Hmm.
Yeah, I love that in a story aspect. Like I think that is so great. It kind of works in the whole darker than black type of thing. Like to get this power, you need to give up something of yourself, right? Like I
Yeah,
think the main guy in Drakengard has to give up speak or something, but
yeah. And I think
some
one of them
guy,
in 3 gave up like their sight or something or their eye.
yeah, and there's like one who's like a kid because he gave up his like ability to age or something like that.
Hmm.
And they're all weird, but it's just to me that's like a very interesting, unique kind of a
Yeah,
system.
like unique power systems and magic systems and shit, like Final Fan, or sorry, in fantasy or yeah, got me.
I'm sorry.
Uh,
That's
like
so
there's
funny.
a series of novels called like Mistborn or whatever, where like all the magic is based around metals, and I think they actually ingest it. So people that have like an affinity towards pewter become like get super strong, and then
What?
copper is like super sight and shit like that, and just like
This
that
sounds
kind of thing.
awesome.
They're super good books. Very much
Mistborn?
recommended. Yeah, Mistborn.
Shit. Okay.
It's
I
a
didn't even know
trilogy.
that was a thing. That sounds cool.
It is super. Like I love unique magic systems or power systems or whatever like that. So it's
Why are you keeping
definitely.
this from me, Nick?
I didn't think it was a
Why are
secret.
you keeping this shit from me?
Very, very well done books. Very famous,
Son of a bitch.
well selling. Going back to Nier Automata, so they've got these weapons, right?
Yeah.
And they upgrade to different levels. And in Drakengard had a similar system, and they're all so fucking depressing. Like just so this weapon in Nier Automata is called Beastbane. It's a big sword.
Ooh.
Here's the level 1 upgrade text. Once
Okay.
upon a time, there were 3 princesses. The middle princess wasn't very bright, but was renowned by all as a great beauty. Once she came of
Wow.
age, she was married off to the king of a neighboring nation.
Sweet. Okay.
The neighboring king, and so level 2 is the neighboring king adored his new wife and treasured her looks above all else. He gave the middle princess 6 new dresses and 8 fresh flowers every day, and his love caused her beauty to shine all the more.
Nice. That's
Level
lovely.
3. The middle princess did all she could to remain beautiful for the king, but she knew time would eventually catch up with her as it did for all. So, after much hard thought, she developed a cunning plan. Level 4, the final upgrade. The middle
Getting
princess
dark.
had herself stuffed and mounted so she could remain beautiful for all time. The king wept joyful tears at the sight, but alas, 2 years later, war broke out and her body was crushed under the rubble of the castle. Every weapon is like this.
What the fuck?
It's like
What?
John was a fisherman and he loved his wife. Level 2, John caught a huge fish. Level 3, inside the fish was a giant pearl. John wanted to sell it to make himself super rich so he could provide for his new daughter. Level 4, bandits came to steal the pearl from John. They murdered his family while he watched and then raped him to death.
I love the change in your tone of voice.
Yeah.
And it's like John is so happy. They killed his family. It's like oh shit.
Like they're all just so fucking depressing. It's like comical levels almost of like, oh, level 1 is about like a boy who gets a fucking dog friend that he loves forever and loves so much, and it's just like
That's
you're
cool.
just like, where's this gonna go wrong? Like, what's gonna happen
Is
here?
he gonna be wearing the skin of that
Is the
dog in
dog
like
gonna eat the boy, or is
fourth
the boy gonna
levels?
eat the dog? Which one's gonna happen? And I just fucking love that shit. If I remember right, Drakengard, all 3 games I think have like similar weapon upgrade systems.
That sounds pretty cheery.
It is.
Sounds like
It's
a
I leave all my upgrades at level 1 so that I'm always happy.
very. All of these are very depressing
They're
games that we
incredibly depressing.
decided. Yeah, they're very mature. They're very intense. They're very philosophical. Very serious. Not a lot of happy-go-luckiness.
Here's one of my favorites.
Okay.
The weapon is faith, a katana.
Okay.
Level 1. In the capital of a distant eastern land, there lived a poet who was devoted to his art, but his words failed to touch the hearts of the people, and he could not make no profit from them. Soon, his life became unbearably hard.
Okay. You're
Level
doing your
2.
intense voice. I'm kind of nervous.
Seeing the limits of his talent, the poet chose to abandon the pen and work the land instead. Soon, his lily-white skin began to grow dark, and his once frail body became sinewy and tough.
Okay.
Upgrade level 3. He eventually married a kind woman, and several years later they had a child. As the peaceful, uneventful days went on, the man began to feel that there could be no greater happiness in life.
Oh, right
Level
on.
4.
Sounds
Or
great.
so the
Just
poet
leave it
wrote
there.
before he put down his pen, swallowed the paper whole, and prayed that the next life might turn out so well. He then took faith, already stained with the blood of another, and plunged it deep into his chest.
What the fuck?
Right?
What the fuck?
Like, right?
Oh my god! Ah,
There's 1, 2, 3, 5.
this is
There's
a
like
happy podcast, everybody.
12 weapons. They're all like that.
Why?
I don't know. I don't know what happened to Yoko Taro to make him this way, but like I hope no one else has to go through the same shit.
That's I got nothing like that really for Final Fantasy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool, man. That's heavy.
Yeah.
Some heavy shit. Right on. Okay, so I don't think we have a lot much. I'm kind of thrown off by that. I'm trying to figure out where to go with this, and I'm just trying to contemplate life right now.
It's heavy, dude. What does it mean to be
gun-
alive?
My gun is looking really nice. So
Have you surpassed your father,
Jesus,
your creator?
man, become a god. Okay.
That's
so,
actually one of the. I think the main song in the game is actually called "Become as Gods."
Look at that. I'm on the
Really
ball.
on point. Yeah.
No, I know what I'm talking about. It's almost as if I played the entire game and beat it already.
There's no way you did.
I know I
Because
didn't.
there's no
I
way
didn't.
you could agree that Final Fantasy Tactics is the better game, even as like some
It is the
weird
better
joke.
game. It's a classic. You
It
stupid.
is a classic. It's a good game.
Stupid jerk.
Nier is the best game, though.
No. I feel like we need things that are like neither of us have played. Like I've played it but you haven't, and then you played it but I haven't, or something we both played because. Never mind.
I mean, I think you're getting into the inherent flaws here with podcast style. What have we been doing this all for, man?
I don't even know. The drugs?
The women?
The money?
There's no money
It's all gone now.
on the drugs.
I know, and the women, right?
I bought 8 copies of Nier Automata.
I've got I've got like 13 women just sitting in my room right now, just listening to me talk.
All playing copies of Nier Automata.
Exactly. No, they're playing Tactics, not. Damn it, Susan. God. Okay, so yeah, that's if anybody, I don't know, we don't have a Twitter or anything. So it doesn't really matter. You can comment underneath whatever points you find, which one's better. Anybody wants to give us their opinions on the matter, that's cool.
I got one more.
Oh my god. Oh my
whoa,
fucking god. I just want to end this. I want to go have a wonderful bubble bath, and you just keep it going, Nick. You just keep it going.
Bro, I'm going to link you one of the boss fights from the earlier part of the game.
Jesus Christ.
Just
Am I going to watch this
yeah,
and then edit
just
it
watch
out?
this shit and then edit it out. Yeah. It
Alright,
always
everybody,
works.
this is Nier Automata boss fight number 3, Opera Singer. Alright, I'm gonna play it and then edit out all the me sitting here listening.
Let me know when you're ready, dude.
Alright, 3, 2, 1, play. Okay, that was
some shit. Tell me that wasn't some shit, dude.
That was a lot.
Let me hear you say it.
That was some shit. I don't know where I'm at with that though. Like I don't know if I'm like that was very interesting and something that I want to explore, and then at the other time I'm like terrified of what I just watched. And like I
So
feel
that
like a person who's never watched anime in my life sitting there like what
getting
is
like
happening?
pain watching Evangelion, binge watching it.
I'm coming in at the end of Akira, just watching the giant monster roll around through the city, and I'm like, no.
I'm good. I'm actually good though.
I don't need that.
So that's
So
like an early game boss. But is probably like one of the ones that most symbolize, I guess, like what overall gameplay of Nier is. A lot of it's like fucked up robots, flash machines, and you're fucking
Jesus.
yeah.
It
I love the
hurts.
sound design in this game. Like I just love the way the robots sound. The way
Yeah,
that fight
they got
started
kind
with
of
the opera
that
singer.
the metallic-y. I don't know what
Yeah,
you call it, but it
like
sounds nifty.
metallic filter, or whatever you want to call it. The way like the music lines up with your actions in the fight and shit, like where it gets more intense as the fight gets more intense. Like I love when shit does that. Like Revengeance did it a lot, and I think they learned a lot from.
Ugh.
So I mean, like I can understand not liking Revengeance, but like you can't tell me like when you're fighting a giant robot T-Rex and Rules of
Ugh.
Nature starts fucking playing, the vocals kick in as you're jumping from missile to missile to slice them in half. That like you
Ugh.
don't get a little bit fucking pumped.
It sounds so good on paper, but it's so
It
bad.
is so good in practice too. Like that game fucking rules, dude.
Alright, man, to each their own.
Yeah, no, 100. Like I can see why people wouldn't like it at the same time, but they did this thing in Revengeance where the fight gets super fucking intense and the vocals kick in and shit like that, and they continue that on with Nier, and like the boss fights are just fantastic for
There's
the
so
most
much
part.
information. It's so
There is a
much.
lot. It's a dense world, and it kind of takes a bit to get into, if I'm being honest.
See, that's why I gotta go with tactics. It
Oh yeah,
lets
all
you
those
it lets
names
you
you
get
said
into it.
seemed real fucking easy. Oh
Yeah,
well,
but
you're the son
it's
of
not like
Garglamel, and your brother Zolbag and Douchebag.
yeah, but that
Actually,
information doesn't
and
affect the fight that you're
Delitas
currently
is
in.
actually from a commoner kingdom,
Ugh.
and there's the Princess Ovalisha and the Prince Farn, and the two
It's
southern
weird because
lines
you
and
got a
northern
lot of
lines
that.
are yeah.
You remembered a lot of that. But okay,
No,
so
I didn't remember anything. I was thinking of those retarded
tactics,
fantasy names I could fucking pop into my head.
tact, tactics gives you a lot of information, but not all of that. Like it fucks up with your flow of combat and understanding the way the whole gameplay works. Whereas near, it's like they're just hitting you in the face with a bat of information. Just like, do you
I mean,
get it
don't do
yet?
that. I
Are
just
you
like
getting it? And they're just
jumped you
hitting you.
into like a boss fight, so like the setup and shit like that isn't really there. You're not getting the full experience.
I feel like that was basically the entirety of the game.
You think you're ready to delete your save data.
All right, buddy. All right.
Okay,
Any
that's it.
last
I
statements
got
or
nothing.
anything you want to throw out there?
Nier fucking rules. Final Fantasy Tactics also rules. My
They're
personal
both.
pick is Nier, because
All right. Well, my personal pick is obviously Final Tactics.
weird that you picked your thing and I picked my thing.
I know that's really
That's-
strange how the very concept of the podcast is flawed in itself.
That's yeah, huh?
It's great. Let's not acknowledge that in any way.
Okay, yeah. Next episode we'll talk about
Drug addiction. Oh.
time to wake up, buddy. Wake up from dreamland.
Oh, last thing before we go. Without getting too intense in this, what do you think of Spider-Man? I know we've both been playing Spider-Man. It's really
Web
fun.
slinging in that game is like having a fucking chocolate milk water fountain in real life or something. Like I get so fucking happy just like whenever it's like, oh, the objective is 3,000 meters over there. I'm just like, yes.
I know. I just said that to Claire the other night. She's like, we're talking about that. And I'm like, it's like they had given me the option, like, hey, do you want to fast travel? And I'm like, nah, I don't. Like,
Maybe I'm
I'm
gonna
good.
fast travel further away so I can fucking web sling a little bit more.
Like, flip off a building and whip around a corner. Like,
oh man, dude, it just feels so good.
and then you get a little just the facts with Jay Jonah, and I'm like, yeah, tell me how much
just,
of a
like-
menace Spider-Man is.
I'm waiting for Jay Jonah to get banned from fucking Twitter and Facebook and shit, and like iTunes to pull his podcast for fucking calling like
Spider-Man a pedophile or something.
Nah, dude, he's gonna call like the fucking Mr. Negative Attack a fucking false flag and like berate the fucking parents or berate Miles Morales about how his dad was just like a crisis actor or some shit.
Well, it's an exaggeration from the Democrats, so you know
The what?
how it all goes.
Yeah, it's fake news.
Exactly. So yeah, it's really fun.
It's good, dude. I fucking like it. Feels even like the rest of the game is also like the combat is good, the plot is good.
It's very satisfying.
The fucking minigame puzzles are kind of like whatever, but
they're not that bad. Some
they're
of them
not
you can
bad.
skip,
But yeah, like a lot of them just have like a skip button in the bottom. It's like
which I never noticed until like just a little bit ago.
until Donkey pointed it out.
Literally, yes. I never noticed that.
The same for me too.
I was like, oh shit. Okay. I guess I could just skip that. But oh, fun fact, because the people didn't hear what we were talking about while we were watching that Nier Automata boss fight. That's so weird to say really fast. Nier Automata.
Yeah.
9S, the secondary character, is voiced by the same guy who does Peter Parker in Spider-Man:
The Small World.
The PS4. Kind of cool. It's a good voice actor. Really fits. Yeah. So that was fun. I think that was a good one. It was a good podcast.
Good pod, bro.
Good episode of the pod.
Sick
good old half cut.
It's half cut, dude. Half cut. Half cut.
I'm gonna make this weird. All right. Well, you guys have a good one. I don't know how to say goodbye.
See you next time, listeners.
Check you out, you gnarly dude.
Yikes.
All right, bye.
Fix that in post.
I gotta keep that in.
Oh man.
Shut up! It's my moment!